know. I mean,
But I still found a way to get out the house when I should have just probably stayed in.
feel you. Oh, my bad. What's good, Joe? It's your boy Shane Hector. No BS, no holds ball sports talk show is back in the building again. This week, Mr. Unregulated is back with us. He was a bit under the weather last week, ladies and gentlemen. So I want you guys to give him an ovation on Facebook. Ezra, thank you for coming back, sir. I'm just letting you know. My man is back. Full of
Shane,
fat.
you might as well just go ahead and tell people I'm 73 years old. You know, an old man is coming. I mean, like, do I really need an ovation?
Hey, look. You know, I'm just glad you're back, brother. Just glad you're back and back in good health. That's all that matters to me. So, ladies and gentlemen, the number to call is going to be 301-429-9247. That's going to be the number to call. And ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and look up here. Look at the topics that we're going to be talking about today. Because I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be excited to see the madness of what we do, what we talk about. And yeah, look at this. I mean, we're going to talk about the Wizards and their offseason moves because they already started making moves.
Yeah. It's about time.
It's about time. We going to talk about my man Bryce Harper. That fool. Anyway, broken brackets. I know my bracket is broken. I know y'all's is probably broken too.
Mine's is not.
Sure.
I may be the only person with the perfect bracket still going.
And then, you know, there's the grade 8. And then the other thing is LeBron James. Gotta talk about LeBron. Gotta talk about LeBron. That's just what it is.
LeBron looked like he's asking for help. He like, help, time out. This ain't the way it's supposed to be going.
Exactly. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's jump right into it. The Wizards. Let's talk about these fools.
And should I hit my Stephen A. Smith thing? The damn Washington Wizards.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I don't know if you guys have known the team president finally got fired. It was a long time coming.
Yes.
Let's regulate your thoughts.
Well, when I think about Ernie Grunfeld,
Okay.
I think bad person to have as your draft leader. But Ernie did show that he was able to get free agents and good free agents. When you look at Gilbert Arenas,
Oh yeah.
Antoine Jameson, Caron Butler, and then you look at the free agents that recent free agents like Bobby Portis and Jabari Parker and people like that. But Ernie's problem was that he never hit on drafts. The only drafts that he hit on was drafts that he had to take the best player, which was like John Wall, the number 1 pick.
Right.
Bradley Beal, a number 3 pick. I mean, he had no other options but to take these players.
Yep.
I think it is time for change. Definitely need change within that organization.
Time for change.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was more than time for change. You need to clean the house.
Yeah,
That's the problem.
I agree.
Everybody need to go. Scott need to go.
Yes, definitely.
GM need to go.
He should have went first.
He should have been the first one out the door.
Scott
He
Brooks should have been first.
But as soon as his season is over, he needs to be fired on Monday morning. Let's not even wait about it. Let's not even talk about it anymore. He needs to go. Clean house. Just clean house. Clean house.
So when you talk about getting rid of Ernie Grunfeld and you talk about getting rid of Scott Brooks,
Yeah.
who do you replace him with?
So with Scott Brooks, there's a couple of coaches out there that I feel like the Washington Wizards could pick up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most certainly I like. You know, there's a couple of coaches. One that comes to mind. Avery Johnson. You can definitely pick him up because when he was with the Mavericks, he definitely got them to a couple of winning seasons. You know, he's a very good coach. He's coaching college basketball right now. Heck of a basketball coach. He has a great basketball mind. Another one, Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson to me is the biggest front runner because of the fact that you saw how he built that Warriors team. He knew what that team was going to become. Steve Kerr, only thing he did was just put his stamp on it and say, hey, I guess I'll teach these guys 3-point shooting, and then there you go. Now you look at the Warriors 3 rings later. So that's just what it is. But but Mark Jackson to me was the Tony Dungy of basketball because he built that team to begin with, and then next thing you know, somebody else took the credit.
Well, you know what? I believe Mark Jackson should have the opportunity. I love Mark Jackson.
Yeah.
However, when you look at how these teams are hiring coaches now, it seems like if you've been sitting on the sideline for so many years, you get overlooked for this new fresh guy who like maybe a Tim Legler.
Right.
Jerry Stackhouse just got a coaching job in Vanderbilt D1 school. Yeah. So I mean, so you have a lot of qualified people that has been sitting on the sideline doing commentary or been coaching in the background as assistant coaches. They're not getting the opportunities because I don't know what the thinking is, but they seem to be grabbing those who have not been in coaching or that have just
head coaching for quite some time.
Right.
And to your point, that actually is it. You have a really good point there because that's what happened in Boston. With Brad Stevens. Brad Stevens was the coach of who? Butler. Like nobody cared about Butler until Brad Stevens got there. But it's just that the Celtics at that time, they dealt with the whole Rick Pitino thing. Rick Pitino ends up in Louisville. Then we picked up Doc Rivers, got a ring with Doc. Doc ends up leaving to go to the LA Clippers. And, I mean, clearly the Clippers today are pretty darn good basketball team. But then after that, we was like, all right, well, good, we pick up. Then they just went with Brad Stevens, even though I felt like I forgot the name of the assistant coach for the Celtics at the time, but I felt like he should have been able to step up and coach that basketball team, but the Celtics had other plans. Danny Ainge said, nah, I'm going to go with this guy here. Now, it did pan out for Boston because Brad Stevens, I mean, is a heck of a basketball coach. Now, I think he's kind of struggling a bit because he's trying to find that balance of having to rotate these guys, but for the most part, he's a heck of a basketball coach.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, there are two possibilities when it comes to head basketball coach here in DC.
Yeah.
One is I think Juwan Howard is someone that you have to strongly consider. He's been an assistant coach for several years with the Heat, and he once played in Washington.
Right.
That's one. Two, there's a big name out there on the college level that people are saying that he may be a candidate for two different jobs. I forgot the schools, but they're two big D1 schools that are considering this person. Oh. But it would not surprise me if
it's Calipari, don't do that.
Well, the name is not quite that big.
Okay, I was about to say.
I mean, it's John
Calipari.
It may be as
shoot yourself in the foot because he definitely ain't gonna go.
It may be as big as that name, but it's a third.
Okay.
And I'm talking about John Thompson, the third. I can see them reaching out to him, putting him in a position where as though he can coach the Washington Wizards. I mean, he has not accepted a college job yet, and he's been, mentioned for several different opportunities. So is this him saying, okay, I'm waiting for the end of the NBA season because I know I'm in conversations with the Wizards staff or organization? I think that would be a good fit for JT3.
So here's my issue with John Thompson III. The last time I remember, his last, I would say, 3 or 4 seasons with Georgetown, it didn't end very well. They wasn't winning. And then I have to wonder. It's different coach. See, this is what basketball is to me. The NBA and the NFL are no different from each other with the exception of the fact that the NBA allows their players to do a lot more than the NFL does, and they're a lot more willing to come to the table and talk with their players more versus the NFL where it's a slave owner mentality. Yes, I am going to say that on the air. I don't care. With the slave owner mentality, with the the NFL, the NBA is you're going from coaching young boys who just want playing time to grown men where I'm under contract and I need to be able to make my points and make my rebounds, make my assists, and make my money so that way I can fulfill my contract that's outlined in my contract so that way I can make the money that I want to make. It's a lot different, and the egos are a lot different because these players nowadays, I hate to say it, a lot of people don't probably want to agree with me on this, But see, LeBron James, you want to know why I can never ever consider him the GOAT? Because see, the problem is he set a precedent in the NBA that I don't think anybody's talking about. And the one precedent that I don't like is the fact that players have more power than their coaches. That's the problem. You can't sit here and say, well, I'm the best player in the league, so therefore I don't want you as coach, and then the team fire him. But then next thing you know, they still don't go anywhere, and there lies a problem. That's the first problem. So I don't know if John Thompson III could come into DC and Bradley Beal, especially me, isn't me talking to Bradley because Bradley seems like he seems like the type of guy that like no matter who's the coach, he's gonna play according to what the coach does. John Wall, I believe, is the same way. It's just he's more of a hothead than Bradley, but John Wall, I feel like would play like that. But any other player, do I believe he could be able to coach them? I'm not sure. These guys would have to buy into John Thompson III in order for them to really be like, you know what? I buy into this system. I'm buying into this guy. I'm gonna bust my butt. So for this coach.
Well, I think with him coming in with him coming in as a new head coach of the Washington Wizards, it's already established that you're going to buy into it or you're not going to be there. One, I think his name says that, and then when you look at having a veteran on the team like Jeff Green from Georgetown,
yes,
and then you also look at when you get JT3. You get a good coach. Now his last 4 years at Georgetown may not necessarily been coaching because they play hard.
Right.
It's recruiting. So now he does not have to recruit. All he has to do is put a system in place and coach. Now this is the thing: when you get JT3, you also get a consultant in Big John Thompson.
Right.
So now when you look at basketball operations and you look at Ted going through Grunfeld for so long, he's looking for somebody he can bring in and trust. Who else can you trust in the Washington D.C. area, but John Thompson loves the team and loves the area.
Right.
When you bring somebody else in, it's basically for the money, and then they get to love the team in the area.
Absolutely.
But John is here. John may not take the GM position, but I'm sure with his son coaching,
yeah,
he will consult. So I mean, you get a consultant, and then you get a good coach. Now, as far as your GM,
yeah.
Who will be your GM? I mean, when you think about that, who can possibly come in and be the GM that has ties to Washington D.C. or that has ties to Ted from some years ago? I mean, I don't think they bring in somebody that does not have any ties to the D.C. area, whether it's the GM or whether it's the coach. One of the two, you have to is going to have to have some ties to the D.C. area. I mean, I think that's good for tickets. I think it says something about Ted and his loyalty to whoever he hires. But this time he's going to hire somebody that actually loves the team and loves the area. I mean, you may be looking at somebody like Phil Chenier being a president of basketball operations.
Okay.
So I mean, there are a lot of people. We haven't had a former Bullet or Wizard in a position since Wes Unseld, and we know that his health started to deteriorate. And so he had to step down. But when I look at the people in the area, that's been actively involved with the Wizards. I mean, you got a lot of old alum that are still actively involved. And when you talk about Michael Adams,
that could work.
Michael Adams is coaching. Last I knew he was coaching in the WNBA. He actually coached the Mystics for a year, I believe.
Right, he did.
So I mean, you still have people around that's able to come in and that are still involved in the game.
Yep.
So I mean, I just think whoever this next hire is, I don't want people to get so excited about, oh man, we may get a Jerry Sloan or bring this person out of retirement.
That's not gonna happen.
But with Jerry Stackhouse getting a job, with all of the ex players always being mentioned, like Mark Jackson and you got Joe Dumas who coached and was a GM. Don't be surprised if it's not JT3. And Coach Thompson coming in to help reestablish this organization. Don't be surprised if you don't get a player like Juwan Howard or Chris Webber.
I think, out of the two, I can see Juwan Howard more than anything before I can see Chris Webber, just because Juwan Howard has at least played for the Wizards. He knows the organization. He knows the team. He's played basketball for many years. He's won. He's won a couple of rings with the Heat.
Well, Chris Webber's played for the team too.
He has, but it's, the
look
relationship
at the
is different.
Look at the trends.
Yeah.
The trends are these assistant coaches sit on the bench. Patrick Ewing would have been a great hire if he didn't take the Georgetown job 2 years ago.
Oh, of course.
But see, that's not what's happening. What's happening is that they're snatching people from the broadcast booth or snatching people that they're giving opportunities to those you wouldn't think that the opportunities should come or would have came so fast. Right. So for me to see Chris Webber being offered the Washington Wizards job, it wouldn't surprise me because he was a bullet. He's loved in the city, and he's been doing he's been doing the analyst on TV, and he seems to know what he's talking about. So you talk about these guys that are on TV like Chauncey Billups, Chris Webber. You talking about Kenny the Jet Smith. I don't know if Kenny wants to get back into coaching because I think he does pretty good where he's at, and definitely Charles Barkley probably would. But what if you can convince Shaquille O'Neal to come and coach? I mean, he may not be a great coach. I don't know. I don't know how he is, but just the factor of this big 7'2", 350-pound guy in your practice giving you orders,
also known as the Diesel.
Yeah, there's not going to be no playing around in his practice. And when you get on the floor, you're going to bust your butt for him.
Absolutely.
Or he's going to get in your face. This is not a coach that you're going to talk back to or any of that. He's going to get in your face. Now, will that work? It may work for 2-3 years. I mean, it has to be. I don't think Shaquille is a long-term solution. I don't even know if Shaquille would even consider it. Right. But it wouldn't surprise me if they went that route with a former player, a former superstar player. Now, right. Mark Jackson, Chauncey Billups, those will be the choices to make. But I just don't see them making. I see them going elsewhere like a Juwan Howard, a Chris Webber, or even going to the college ranks and getting JT the third.
Right, I hear you. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we got more to talk to you guys about. So don't go anywhere on the No BS show.
Get Ernie Grunfeld on the phone and see what he got to say about this.
Sports is what we do. It's the fast track at peak speed, moving across the ice, blockers, hitters, B-team, beatdowns, and knockouts, doubleheaders, playoffs, touchdowns, smackdowns, on the mat or on the track. The spirit of a champion. The triple-double. Make that double front flip. This is what we do.
Okay. That's Mike Jordan. We're back. We got something else to talk to you about. Just like you guys know. So here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. This man right here, Bryce. Welcome home, Bryce. I heard it wasn't a great welcome home.
Well, I mean, stat wise, he didn't do bad. I think he during that series he still batted. He batted like maybe 300 or something like that. But it started. It wasn't. It was good for him, and it was also good for the fans of Washington because the head-to-head matchup with Bryce and Max Scherzer, Max won. Struck him out twice. But then when Max went to the bench in like the sixth inning. And then that's when he caught fire. The relief pitching is terrible.
Right. Because I said to people, I'm like, if you was watching this, because I watched it, I was just saying like, come on, dude. Like, I'm like, with this pitcher, I was like, with the first team pitcher, as your opener, obviously I knew Bryce wasn't gonna do nothing with him. Mm-hmm. I already saw this writing on the wall because I'm like, I've seen this with Bryce before because he did this with the Nationals. Typically, when I've seen him get his big hits or his big home runs, it's usually in the last 3 to 4 innings, and usually in the last 3 to 4 innings of the game. Because the first team, especially if they have an excellent pitcher, he doesn't do well. Because I've seen him do it against the Red Sox, like when he was playing David Price, and David Price to me is not really the best pitcher in the game. He's not, but for some strange reason, him and Bryce got an interesting relationship. Same thing with the pitcher of the Yankees. Same thing. Don't do nothing against that opening pitcher, but as soon as he gets to that relief pitcher, that's when all of a sudden he's starting to go off, and that's when so as a manager, of a baseball team, if you see Bryce Harper, you know to yourself, okay, I know my opening guy is going to be great. I know he's going to be great. But my relief pitcher needs to be just as good. So that way we can keep him from catching fire. Because if your relief pitcher is good, because I always say to people, baseball is based on a lot of things, especially going into the playoffs. Your pitching and relief pitching have to be on point, especially your relief pitching, because your opening pitcher, because the Red Sox is a reason why the Red Sox won 108 games last year, because our opening pitching was really good because we had David Price. But then our relief pitchers were amazing because we had good closers. If you don't have any good closers in the game of baseball, you're not going to go very far. In fact, it's going to actually hurt you more than anything, because then you're going to be looking at yourself like crap. And then, of course, now if you got great outfield, well, I'm going to say this. Most teams have decent outfielders. Then it comes down to your hitters. Who are the biggest hitters on the team? Well, right now, for the Nationals, one of their biggest hitters is gone because Bryce is gone. So now it's going to come down to who's going to step up to the plate for the Nationals at this point, because this dude right here, I mean, the Phillies were there last year, but nobody really kind of cared about them because it was really just down to the Red Sox and the Yankees. Nobody, you know what I'm saying? But now it's going to come down to who's going to step up for the Nationals.
Before I answer that, I want to get back to the pitching thing. I think the game of baseball is changing right before our eyes.
Right.
When you talk about hitters like Bryce Harper,
right.
When they get to the later innings,
yep.
They seem to hit better. Normally, after 3 cycles of the rotation go around, you get more familiar with the starting pitcher, and you say, okay, well, this is what he's doing. This is by the third time you face the starting pitcher, it's more likely you're going to get a hit anyway.
Right.
Most times, but when you talk about the relievers, the game of baseball is changing right before our eyes. No longer can you have a reliever on your team that's one-dimensional. I mean, if you have a reliever that has 100 mile per hour fastball, and that's what he's good at, and then when you bring him in a game, everybody knows he has one pitch.
Yep.
So now the game you can't have your bullpen with relievers that are one-dimensional. Your bullpen basically have to be starting pitchers. 4 and 5, the 4th and 5th starters in somebody's rotation have to be your relievers these days, because you need relievers to come in and not have batters like Bryce Harper and Trout looking and say, okay, I know all he got is a fastball.
And Manny Machado.
All he got is a slider.
Like that, right.
You need pitchers to come in that at least have 2 or 3 different pitches that they can pitch to keep a batter off guard. If you don't have that, then, I mean, these guys do their research. The scouts do their research. The batting coaches do their research, so they know who your relievers are, and they know what your relievers are good at.
Of.
And on the point of who takes the batting, gets the numbers as far as the batting average and home runs for the Washington Nationals in the absence of Bryce Harper is simple. Anthony Rendon.
Yeah.
You have Juan Soto.
Right.
And then you have what is the Rivas. I think that's how you pronounce his name.
Yeah.
The rookie, the rookie. So I mean, you have best, and you have Michael A. Teller coming back. You have Eaton there. You have you still got Ryan Zimmerman who has a good bat.
Right.
You have people that are capable of hitting 300 or better throughout the season, getting you 100 RBIs, and you have you're probably going to have 5 or 6 players that have 20 or more home runs on the team.
Exactly.
And it's unfortunate that Trey Turner is going to be lost for the next 2 months.
Right.
Because this guy, he had did he have close to 10 stolen bases in the 3 games that he played?
Exactly.
I mean it's unheard of.
Exactly. And to your point about Anthony Rendon, right now he's already got 23 at-bats, 10 hits and 2 home runs so far this season. His batting average is .435. Now, it's still early in the season.
Yeah.
Still early in the season.
And they're going to have to pay him.
Oh, believe me, they ain't gonna have no choice, because at this point he's 28 years old. He's third baseman. Sometimes he plays second base, but it's just that the Nationals at this point, they've already made it clear that they wasn't gonna just allow Bryce Harper to just do whatever he felt. That's just what it comes down to.
No. See that, and that's what all the fans think. I don't fault Bryce Harper for leaving. The Washington Nationals offered him 10 years, $300 million,
right?
With 100 of it deferred to 1952, and then they offered him 12 years. 12 came back and offered him 12 years for 250. They went down with the deferred money. In 2060 or something like that. And if I'm Bryce Harper, I'm looking at them. I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I'm making the league more money just off my jersey sales and TV and TV revenue pays Bryce Harper. So the learners did not want to pay him. They're cheap. Yeah. And we see that because you get rid of Dusty. You don't want to pay a manager. So the learners, I think they think that they can. They don't look long term.
No, they don't. But then again, I've noticed this with DC Sports. For some strange reason, the management. It seems like to be the same trend, whether if it's the Redskins, the Wizards, the Nationals. The only one that doesn't seem like that's really the trend is the Capitals. But the problem is I've noticed is either nobody wants to pay or they have extremely bad management. Now, in most cases, for what I've seen so far, and I've lived in the DMV since 2006, it's been bad management. It's been bad for forever, for all I can remember. Like, I've never seen a year where, like, the management was actually on point where they made the right all-season moves and they had successful teams. If you look at all the big markets, the reason why Boston's been so successful because most of those teams are well-managed. The same thing with New York. I don't even like the New York Jets, but they're well-managed. They just have bad coaching. That's the reason why the New York Jets are terrible. They're terrible because they have bad coaching. But when it comes to management, no, their management is right where it's supposed to be. They make the right off-season moves. They make the right moves. Problem is they just have bad coaching. The New York Giants. I don't like the Giants either. I hate the New York Giants. But the New York Giants have great management. That's the reason why they're able to make the moves that they make. That's why when everybody calls me crazy about this OBJ move, I'm like, okay, you know what? They traded him for a reason because they let everybody know. I could care less about him. In fact, I'm pretty sure I would not be surprised if they make some wild, crazy move in this NFL draft. But getting back to baseball, the point is with the whole Bryce Harper situation, it was a great welcome home. It's a great welcome home.
I applaud the fans for getting out there to the stadium and showing Bryce Harper how much love we have for him.
Yeah.
I can never appreciate a player that turns their back on the city. But on the other hand, when you know the fine details about why he ended up where he ended up, then you have to also take a step back and look at your ownership. So I don't fault Bryce Harper.
I don't either.
But the information that the fans get from the media is that he left, he took this money. But they really didn't offer him a deal that he was like, oh wow, okay, you all appreciate me. You all understand how much I do for the game of baseball. You all understand how much I do for this team. They did not show him that.
Right.
So when you're not shown that, of course you're thinking, okay, well, if I take this 200, you offer me 300 million, then you come back and you offer me 250. That's an insult.
That's an insult. Yeah, and I know right now the Boston Red Sox, they're going through that same problem with Mookie Betts because they only offered him, I think it was $220 million, and he was like, yeah, I'm not about that life because I could definitely find some more money someplace else.
The only good thing about this is that what I can appreciate from the owner's point of view is that we're now saying that no more will we give you the franchise. We're going to pay you what we think that you're worth, and we're going to stick to it. And matter of fact, you know what? I think we may have offered you too much. This is what we think you're worth.
Right.
So if every owner starts to do that, then we won't see these athletes getting a ridiculous amount of money and leaving from one team, they go to another team and leaving these franchises kind of like strangled. Like when you look at basketball, you look at John Wall. They had to give him that money because you can't lose your superstar.
Exactly.
So you got to give it to him. Now look, your superstar's on the shelf, and your superstar is not even a superstar. He's just a star. You know. So I mean, you know, with the professional athlete, professional sports, I think ownership in all sports have to come together and say, look.
Right.
We make enough money. Yes, we do. We're the owners. But if we don't stop this now, I mean, in 3 years when the next hot baseball player comes up and that's just as good as Bryce, what is he going to ask for? $500 million? I might as well just go ahead and sign a team over to him and say, sign your name right here. You're a partner. You're now a partner. So we have to start putting caps on these things.
Right. Shout out to all the fans that tuning in this morning. Thank you, Miss Owens and my godmother, Miss Rhonda White. I want to shout out to both of you, Mr. Ahmad Queen, for tuning in. Early this morning. Thank you guys for supporting the show.
Those people are true BS fanatics.
Yes. So I thank you guys for tuning in this morning. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, folks. When we come back, maybe it's the brackets. Maybe it's
I got the only perfect bracket in the
Don't
world.
go anywhere on the No BS show.
I fill mine out every time the game
Are
ends.
you hungry yet? Come on over to Peru's Chicken, where we're cooking up mouth-watering Peruvian-style dishes like quesadillas, tacos, burritos, yuca, arroz con mariscos, camarones a la parrilla, charbroiled chicken, fresh salads, and so much more. Our friendly staff at both of our locations, Lanham at 9001 Annapolis Road in Lanham, Maryland, or Mitchellville at 12106 Central Avenue in Mitchellville, Maryland, we are ready to serve you. Just come on in. Y claro que sí, hablamos español. Peru's Chicken. ¿Tengo hambre?
Ladies and gentlemen,
boys and girls, people from all around the world.
broken brackets. It is what it is.
I keep telling you, Shane, my bracket is not broken. I have Virginia winning the title.
You know, here's what's sad, man. Out of all these teams here, the only one I had in the Final Four was UVA.
Well,
that was the only one.
I got all four of those teams in the Final Four.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was blown because
I've only done one bracket. I didn't do 15, 16, and 17.
I only did one bracket too.
I did one.
But yeah, I had UVA getting there. But see, like out of my bracket, 3 out of the 4 teams I thought was gonna be there are not there. Like Kentucky's not there. I wasn't expecting them to get that far. I thought they was gonna get to the Elite 8, but I didn't think they was gonna get to the Final Four at all. I knew they didn't have that good of a basketball team. But I definitely had North Carolina, UVA. That's what I thought. And then I had Duke and someone else. I forgot who it was. But either way,
Gonzaga.
Yes, I had Duke and Gonzaga, and Gonzaga lost. Mm-hmm. Duke lost, but Duke, I hate to say it, I'm not surprised they lost because we were just talking about this just now off the air about R.J. Barrett. I think R.J. Barrett is one of the most overrated college basketball players right now. No question. Because, like, he definitely cost him that game against State. First off, he was the perfect person to foul in that game. Because I said to people, the dude's shooting 66% from the free throw line. If you had a guy who's shooting 80% from the free throw line, I'd be like, all right, that's like getting a B on a test every time. This dude's getting a 66%. This dude's getting a D- close to an F. He's getting a D- close to an F. There was no way. I was like, all right, you can't count on this dude to win games. Zion,
that guy's a monster.
He's just a straight up monster. My only thing is, I have to wonder, will he stay one more year?
Absolutely not. He can't.
Or will he go into this draft?
He has to. I mean, if you're his parents, you say go to the draft. If because you can come back and get your degree later. If you're an agent, you say, look, son, sign me. Let's go to the draft. If you're his coaches, you have to say, look, Zion, go. This guy plays too hard with too much force in the way he plays. So the likelihood of him getting injured is higher than what it would be for R.J. Barrett. This guy throws his weight and his body around every play. He's going up for block shots. It doesn't take much for him to come down on the ankle. It doesn't take much for him to get undercut. He plays so high above the rim with so much power and force that I sit back and I watch. I say this guy's great, but how long can he do this for before a major injury? I mean, it scares me.
Well, to me, he's like he reminds me, he's like the Marion Barber of basketball. If you remember anything about Marion Barber when he was with the Dallas Cowboys, he was an amazing running back. I mean, he ran hard every play. He used to try to truck everything moving. Mm-hmm. But I knew what was going to be the problem with Marion. Marion's problem was because he ran so hard, the longevity he was going to have in the NFL was going to be very limited. And unfortunately, it ended up being the case because then the Dallas Cowboys cut him and he ends up with the Chicago Bears, who at the time were terrible. And then he faded away. So, I don't think that'll happen to Zion if he gets the right coaching. If he ends up with the right coaching,
JT3,
that could happen. But we got to see how this draft lottery goes. Well, that's the thing.
Well, you know what? I think the Wizards will have a good chance of getting this number one pick. I think the balls may fall for them. Right. Normally, when things like when it's a big I think the lottery is rigged. First of all, let me say that.
Oh boy!
Because when you look at the first picks with the Cleveland Cavaliers getting all these first picks, and then you look at how the Wizards got the first pick with John Wall and so on, I think it's rigged, and I think letting go.
Did you? You just said it.
Yeah, I think it's rigged. So I think there's a good chance, and I got to look at the other teams. Maybe New York, but when you talk about New York and KD possibly going to New York, they may feel like, okay, well, New York will be okay, but we gotta help this struggling Wizards team, So, but I mean, the Wizards need to do whatever if they don't get the first pick. If New York gets the first pick, hopefully New York will get the first pick, because if KD is already going to come to them, then maybe the Wizards can say, you know what, we want that first pick. We'll give you our number 6 pick if that's what the pick is, plus John Wall. Plus, we're signing and trade Jabari Parker. Who else do you want? Thomas Bryant? We'll give you him too, just for Zion. I'll give you whatever you want, except for Bradley Beal for this guy.
Okay. So, you think that he would be a good fit for the Washington Wizards?
I think that he will be a great fit for the Washington Wizards. And for the time he steps on the floor, and in the near future, and the long term, I think this guy, as long as he does not get injured, this guy is absolutely going to dominate this league. And when you talk about going up against other small forwards and power forwards in the East, he's a mismatch. And then when you talk about possibly the Lakers getting more players and being in the championship, then if you meet the Lakers in the championship, guess what? You have a LeBron James stopper. This guy he will be able to guard LeBron. And as far as, LeBron has for so many years have been so physical with people and out-muscling people. Now you have a guy that weighs...
This is big. It's bigger.
It's bigger than him.
And he's younger.
And athletic, that you're not going to easily... And you're not going to easily just push him because he's strong. And his game he has a power game. So, I mean, I don't know if you can offer enough to get the number one pick to get this guy, because I think every team knows this kid's value. When they see how LeBron came out, and they see this kid, everybody's thinking, this is the next LeBron James, but better.
I would not only go as far as to say it's better.
He will be.
He will be better.
He will be.
I would also say more physical, and this kid ain't no chump. Like honestly, when I first saw him, I was like, I want to play basketball against that dude. See, LeBron, I'm not going to lie. When I first saw LeBron, everybody could call me crazy, because when you look at LeBron when he was that young, and then you look at Zion when he was that young, LeBron, you look like, I could probably punk him. Zion don't look like no punk dude. Zion look like the type of dude, like, you step on this court, homie, you might not be walking off. You might walk off with a kneecap missing.
I think Zion's his statue in the NBA is going to be someone like Shaquille O'Neal. Remember when Shaquille first came to the league?
Oh yeah.
And they honored the 50 greatest players in the NBA.
Yep.
Guess who was up there? And he wasn't even in his 7th year as an NBA player. It was Shaquille O'Neal.
Right.
And I couldn't believe. I said, they got this guy. So you can tell and you can see players that will be dominant and unstoppable. Right. This guy is going to dominate the NBA. You're not going to be able to stop him. If you put a faster person on him, a defensive person, he's going to turn his back to him, right, and back him down. If you put somebody on him that's supposed to be physical, say a Markieff Morris, or what are your other strong Tobias Harris, your forwards that can possibly, PJ Tucker. I mean, he's going to dominate these guys, and I just hope he goes to a team, a franchise that really needs him, and not a franchise like that gets lucky and gives up a who we got that gives up a star player to get into that number 1 slot.
Well, if there was a team outside of the teams that you mentioned that could use him, the team I think he could go to, they're also in the East and they're also in New York. I think the Brooklyn Nets could use him.
That would be that would put them from the number 6 spot. That would put them to number 3 immediately.
Because the Brooklyn Nets, I looked at the way they've been playing. They've been playing great basketball. D'Angelo Russell has shown the LA Lakers, well, since y'all got rid of me, let me show you how this is done. And D'Angelo Russell has been balling. But if you add Zion to that mix with him and D'Angelo, the East would be highly competitive. It would be very competitive, like because then teams like Boston would have to find. They'll have to find free agents to really try to figure this out. And then, God forbid, now, I'm not saying Kevin Durant, because now, here's the thing. We all know Kevin Durant is leaving. That's very obvious. Kevin Durant is probably going to leave Golden State. But what would it be like if Kevin Durant either found his way to the Knicks or he found his way to the Warriors? I mean, to the Nets. Now, I ain't going to lie. If KD goes to Brooklyn, let's say for the sake of argument, he goes to Brooklyn with D'Angelo, then you add Zion to that mix. Do you know how ridiculous that team would be?
You know what?
It's wishful thinking, but
it is. But when I look at what's going on really in the NBA, and there's politics in everything we do.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to tell you something. And I said this maybe a couple of months ago on the show.
Right.
Michael Jordan is so competitive. The NBA needs Michael Jordan. They need his name. He's an owner, but they still need his name. They need Michael to be highlighted. You know what I'm saying? So
he hasn't been highlighted forever.
When you talk about these ping pong balls, yeah, I wishful thinking that the Wizards may get it. Right. But when I look at these ping pong balls, and what position are the Charlotte Hornets in right now for the playoffs? Are they just out of it?
They're just out. They're just looking. They're on the outside looking in.
I think what happens is that maybe Michael Jordan gets that number 1 pick again. Remember, he had it once and got Kwame.
I know.
And everybody wants Michael Jordan to be successful. Let's make no doubts about it. The NBA wants the Charlotte Hornets to be successful.
No question.
And the only thing they have down there is Kemba. I
know.
And now when you talk about getting him some help, when you talk about getting him some help, the number 1 pick, Zion. Right. Down there with Kim. And guess who else? Nobody's talking about it. They're talking about New York. But guess what? KD would choose New York because it's close to home. It's a matter of a couple of hours drive or whatever the case may be.
Exactly.
But what about North Carolina? What about down there with Michael Jordan? What about the great KD going down to Charlotte and becoming one of Charlotte's all-time great players for the next 7 years?
Right.
They had Alonzo Mourning, they had Larry Johnson down there in Charlotte, but we're talking about what have they done lately? Who have they had lately? You got Kemba Walker, you got KD, and you got the number 1 pick, Zion. That says Eastern Conference Finals.
It does. However, you still have to. Let's look at the facts right now. Right now, the Hornets are 37-42. Okay, 37-42. Probably 9 times out of 10, they're just probably not going to make it, right at this point. The Heat are 38-41. Then you got the Pistons. Now they're on the outside looking in on the Brooklyn Nets. Actually, I'm sorry, the Pistons is in 39-40. So ain't the Brooklyn Nets. But the Brooklyn Nets, like I said, if they add Zion, I think it'll definitely give them a much better shot. The Knicks, I don't even if they get KD, I don't think they're gonna improve that much. I just don't. Because I think they'll probably win an extra 20 games, and even if that was the case, that's like 35 games on top of what they already have right now.
Well, if I'm KD,
I wouldn't. To me personally, I wouldn't waste my time with New York because that team is not ready to win yet.
It's not.
I would look at the teams that are definitely
the Nets. The Nets is basically
the Nets. To me, the Nets is the better of the two New York teams. That's just me personally, because I think that the Nets right now, they got the pieces. They're a very young team. Then you add in D'Angelo Russell, who's a veteran. He's been here for quite some time, but he's still young enough where he's balling out. He's probably going to do this consistently now that he's in the East. He's in a much better system. He's out of that toxic situation in LA, because I'm sorry, yes, LA fans, I'm calling them out, because that situation up there in LA is highly toxic right now. Nobody wants to talk about that, but I'm just going to bring out the facts. The facts are, as soon as LeBron James got there, it became so toxic that ain't nobody want to play. Nobody wants to play. No, you don't want to play. He don't want to play. No one else will play basketball.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out who's making the decisions up there. Is it Magic Johnson?
Or is it LeBron James?
Well,
let's just be real about it. No, this is the no BS show. Let's call it out like it is. I'm sorry. I'm so. If it seems like I'm getting passionate right now, everybody knows what's going on in LA. Nobody wants to talk about it. The facts are, LeBron James got there. Nobody cared about Magic Johnson no more. And now, instead of Magic Johnson running the team, it's LeBron James running the team. Period.
I don't agree with that. I don't. First of all, Magic is Magic. That's
Magic. But
that's Mr. Los Angeles Lakers. So I mean, the Bus family is not going to take a LeBron James.
But Luke Walton about to be fired,
their loyalty is not going to go from Magic to LeBron. So Magic is running this team, but Magic is not making the decisions. I don't think. I think the decisions are being made by the Bus family.
I know the Bus. Yeah, but the Bus family don't make these kind of. They don't make stupid decisions like this.
Yeah, yes, they do. Anytime you consider trading LeBron James, it's stupid.
I would consider trading LeBron James too. I'm sorry, because Luke.
Why do you bring him there and then consider
Now, good point. Now you do have a point there. I wouldn't bring him in and pay him all that money just for us to trade him after the first year. That just doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make sense to me, especially money wise. Money wise, it's not a good idea. But for the toxic culture that came with him, because I think they saw the glitz and glamour of LeBron, and they got starstruck, and they was probably like, man, if we bring LeBron here, we probably gonna win some rings. We could get back to that winning stage. The problem was what they wasn't expecting with LeBron, and I've been saying this for years because he's been doing this forever, is whatever team he goes to, he wants to bring his people in order for him to be successful. Last time I checked, your name's not Phil Jackson. Last time I checked. The only guy that I know in the NBA that ever commanded that kind of respect was Phil Jackson. And that was only because, Phil only got, 9 as a coach, 2 as a player.
That's interesting because when you mentioned Phil Jackson's name. Mm-hmm. What if the bus lady goes home and says, Phil, I love you, baby, and really puts it on him that night and says, look, will you come back and coach? What if Phil does come back to coach LeBron? Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Have anybody has that been considered?
I never considered that, but if you think about it,
I think Phil would do it.
I think Phil would do it because he coached how many great players? He's coached Mike. He coached Scotty. He coached Steve Kerr, who's now the head coach of the Warriors. He's coached so many
Dennis
greats.
Rodman.
Right. If you could coach Dennis Rodman,
Shaquille O'Neal,
Shaq, the Diesel,
Kobe Bryant,
Metta World Peace. Mm-hmm. Okay,
I think
Rick Fox.
I think Phil will strongly consider it because he will see. He say, okay, we got LeBron, We got some free agency. Free agency. We can get this person, that person. We can make a push, in the West. And as far as the Golden State Warriors, I think Phil is one of those coaches that's smart enough to know, okay, we can't beat them at their game. So what we do when we play them,
Yeah.
We're going to slow this pace down, and we're going to run this triangle offense with some adjustments to it to slow the pace of the game down.
Yeah.
So you're not going to score 125 points on us. We're going to keep you at 100 to 105.
But getting back to the bracket right now, at this point, like I said,
Yeah, we got far away from that, didn't we?
we sure did. But getting back to the bracket, out of all these teams that I see there, I've got UVA meeting Michigan State at this point as an international championship, and I've got UVA winning it all. That's what I got.
You know what? To be honest with you, the same thing you said about Duke and their performances, how they've been playing, the Cavaliers have been doing the same. They've been just getting past, getting by.
Okay.
They start off slow every game. I think this Auburn team is very dangerous. I think they can upset Virginia. For my bracket's sake, I hope they don't.
Right.
And just for the area's sake, Virginia is the only team that we have to that we can ride right now, being in this DMV area. But Auburn is a team that scares me, and it would not surprise me if Chuck has bragging rights for the rest of the year. And when I say Chuck, I mean Charles Barkley.
Oh, boy.
I mean Auburn is a team that you have to worry about. Virginia is a good team, but their pace.
I'm not gonna.
If they can control the pace, then yeah, I'll say Virginia will win.
I'm
But
not
it's
gonna put
Auburn
anything
team,
past.
man.
I'm not gonna put anything past Auburn because I saw what they did to Kentucky. I'm not gonna put anything past it because Auburn. They were the team that I'm not gonna lie. I did not expect them to get this far. I did not. I honestly had them losing in the round of 32. To be honest with you, I actually had them losing that far back, but they made it. So at the end of the day, they're here. But I still got UVA. But Texas Tech, I'm not. If they beat Michigan State, I will not be surprised because the thing about Texas Tech, that's a scrappy little team out of Texas. They are scrappy and they are ready to ball. But I'm excited. Let's move on to the next topic. So what we're going to talk about now, we're going to talk about the Caps real quick, and then we're going to end it with LeBron. So the Caps, take that away, Mr. Unregulated.
Well, the defending Stanley Cup champions, the Washington Capitals, are on the road.
They are.
They have, for the fourth consecutive season, become the Metro Division champions.
Okay.
I mean, look. What else can you say about the Caps? The Capitals are a team that's hot right now. They probably have the hottest goaltender, Hopi in the game right now. So
Do you think they're gonna repeat?
That depends on health, one, and who they see in the first round. I mean, it would be great if they can see Carolina. I mean, and sweep
And get a warm up.
Yeah,
Right.
and sweep them. But because Carolina's not a big team, But if they face a team that's big and physical, it can beat them up and wear them down. And you have to worry about that because you got to remember that they are the defending champions. So not only are they tired from the season, but they're tired from the season beforehand because of all the festivities that surround the team being the champions, and then the long playoff run that they had to go through to get the cup.
Right.
So health is one thing, and the first round, not going 6 or 7 games in the first round would definitely help them.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is what I've been saying. I think that they have a big opportunity right now to do a repeat. I honestly feel that way. I'm looking at the wild cards right now. You look at the teams in the western side. You got Nashville, Winnipeg, St. Louis, and then you got Calgary, San Jose, Vegas, Dallas, and Colorado. But on the eastern side, your 2 wild card teams, Carolina, Columbus. But then you've got Washington sitting pretty at number 1 in the metropolitan area. New York Islanders are right behind them. Then you got the Pittsburgh Penguins. And then in Atlantic, Tampa Bay. Well, I mean, Tampa Bay is just Tampa Bay. They're just ridiculous right now for all the points they got. 126 points. This is ridiculous. But anyway, that's another thing. Then you got Boston and Toronto. I think that right now, it's basically almost the same consistent teams from last year. You know, it's just if I'm Washington, I'm definitely gonna want to face Carolina. Beat them up, sweep them. After you sweep them, then it'll propel you to play a team like Tampa Bay or Boston or even the Pittsburgh Penguins, because I don't put nothing past the Penguins, but I'll even go as far as the Islanders. The Islanders, little do people realize they have 101 points this season. Nobody's paying attention to them, though, but because they have only 47 wins. But I said, don't put anything past the New York Islanders. They might be looking to do something crazy this year. Be ready for them, because it's going to be interesting. But in the interest of time, folks, we're going to go ahead and move ahead and talk about this man, LeBron, one last time. Now, this is the question that I posed a couple of days ago. And
is that coaching on the court?
I know, right? See, this is how
Hold up. That's not the play that I called. Timeout.
Yeah, that ain't the play that I called. You know what I'm saying? All right, so here's the thing. I posted a poll on Twitter because I wanted to see what people thought, about LeBron. I wanted to know what people were thinking, right? So I posted a poll. So out of the votes that I saw, I said, is LeBron James done? 20% said yes. Only 80% said no. They don't believe he's done yet, and I believe that he was on the decline.
What do you mean done? Done for the season?
Just done in his career.
Are you serious? This guy's a freak. He's nowhere. He's not done.
You don't think he's done?
No, because when LeBron starts to show the wear and tear and the age, then only thing you're gonna lose is that speed coming down court. But you're not gonna lose that low post, give me the ball, that physical thing. I mean, LeBron's gonna be around for a good little while. I mean, unless a major injury. I mean, that's like LeBron is so dynamic that if he loses speed and he can no longer beat you off the dribble, I mean, he's developed a jump shot over the years, so he can shoot a jump shot. But even more importantly, he's so physical and been dominating guys down in the low box for so long. LeBron, you lost a step. You're 36 years old now. What are we going to do with you? We're going to put you down at the power forward position and let you even face up or turn your back to these players and bully them down there.
Exactly.
LeBron is far from done.
You think he's far from done?
Far. I'll take LeBron.
You sure?
5 years from now, I don't know what LeBron's age is, but 5 years from now, if LeBron was available, I'll still take LeBron 5 years from now.
Well, he was born in '84, so that means he's 4 years older than me. So he'll be 35 this summer. So 5 years now, he'll be 40. So no. At
the age of 40, I believe LeBron James still will be an impact in the NBA. He won't be the superstar, or the best player in the NBA. But you can bank that LeBron will still average 16 points at the age of 40. 16 points and 10 rebounds. He's going to average a double-double at the age of 40. He's that physical. He's in excellent shape.
He's in excellent shape, but he was definitely hurt for how many games this year? 20-something games?
Yeah, you'll be hurt too. You wouldn't want. I don't think I think the thinking is that what, I want to play, but I can't put myself out there for all these games because next year is the year that all these people are coming.
He's done. Stick a fork in him, he's done.
I don't know.
LeBron James is done. Lakers fans just need to get over the fact that he's done. You paid him all that money for nothing. You're not going anywhere. You're not going to win any more rings. You might as well just wait until the next superstar comes along for the LA Lakers to get back to form. The only saving grace for them would be, like you said, for Phil Jackson to come over there and do his thing.
The Lakers are one star player away and one average player away. And I'm gonna tell you something. When you look at a team like the Washington Wizards, and I'm picking on the Washington Wizards, they don't have a general manager.
Okay.
You get a new general manager that comes in and says, you know what, we're gonna start from scratch. I got to dump some of these salaries. I got two big contracts that don't allow me to do nothing for the next 5 years. I have to get rid of them. John Wall can't go nowhere. We love Bradley Beal, but can we get 3 first-round picks or 2 first-round picks if we package Bradley Beal and somebody
So
else.
you think that Bradley Beal should go over John Wall? Okay, next.
But they can't do nothing with John Wall. And then the Lakers don't need John Wall. The Lakers have Rondo, they have Ball. They got some point guards.
What makes you think they can't do nothing with John Wall?
Well, LeBron has never needed a star point guard. That's not what he needs. He just needs an average point guard. But when you talk
he
about,
never needed a star point guard, but he had Kyrie Irving. He had Kyrie Irving. So
how many times did LeBron win a championship? How many did he win with Kyrie? One. Okay. LeBron has how many rings?
3.
Okay, so and how many times he's been to the finals? 7 times. Kyrie
it
wasn't.
was 9 times. But
Kyrie
that's
is not.
point.
Kyrie is not the key to LeBron's success. The success to LeBron's success is
The key to LeBron's success was that he always needs a really good 2 guard. That's
Bradley Beal, and that's the connection that I'm making. When this new Wizards GM come in and says, you know what, we love Bradley. I mean, but we can be better in 2 years or 3 years down the line and secure the future for the next 10 if we trade Bradley's salary and get some draft picks back for him. If you get 2 first-round picks back for Bradley and you dump that $140-some million that Bradley's going to get and you send him down to the Lakers, West Coast. I mean, when you talk about LeBron, Bradley, and possibly a free agent signing of the unibrow.
Nope. That's not gonna happen. It's too much money.
No, it's not, because the only thing that's on your books would be the free agent signing of the unibrow. This is a trade that the Wizards it affects the salary cap differently.
Do you really think that the Lakers are gonna pay that contract that the Wizards are paying Bradley Beal?
Bradley Beal is an elite 2 guard in the league. Yes.
I'm not. I never said that.
And LeBron needs him.
What I'm asking is, do you think the Lakers will pay that money that the Wizards are paying Bradley Beal, plus try to get Anthony Davis on top of that? Because you do know that all 3 of these players, just these 3 alone, they're all going to be at least $100 million apiece. They're not cheap.
But look, listen to it. Why wouldn't they pay? They're able to pay it. The ticket sales are going to go back up. They're already up. This is showtime.
Did you forget that there's a salary cap in the NBA? This isn't the NFL. This isn't baseball.
The salary cap is not going to be affected by a trade. I mean, it's affected by
It will be affected by a trade because of the fact that you still have to pay out that player's contract. So the problem is, Bradley Beal, what did he have? A 4-year deal for $128 million? That was a lot of money that y'all paid this dude. It's not like he's cheap. Y'all paid him a lot of money. That's why I'm like...
Was it 4 years?
Yes. Y'all paid that dude a lot of money. That's why I don't see how the Lakers make that move.
Why can't they?
Because that's too much money to go.
Okay, listen to this.
Think about like
who has more money? Which franchise has more money? The Lakers or the Wizards?
Obviously, the Lakers.
Okay, so now the Wizards had.
But again,
the Wizards had
every team has
the Wizards had 3 $100 million contracts.
Okay.
So why can't the Lakers have it?
Because you're gonna have to pay Anthony Davis close to $200. That's why.
If Anthony wants to win, Anthony said they'll come together and they'll figure it out. If Anthony wants to win championships,
well, then you better have that conversation with Anthony now as soon as the season is over. Because as soon as the season is over, you have to have that conversation. Because otherwise, I can tell you right now, Anthony Davis is not going to come there for just like less than $100 million, bare minimum. You have to pay that dude.
I think when you talk about LeBron and you talk about what he needs one more superstar and he needs a star. And when you talk about LeBron's history and his success, he's always had a 2 guard or a small forward that can shoot the rock or that can drive the lane. And Bradley Beal is that person for him. Now, whether the unibrow come or whether there's another star player that comes, I don't know. But I can see
they better find something.
I can see the whole Washington Wizards franchise being just tore apart. And John Wall the only person remaining because of his contract.
It's like I said. It's look. Just face facts. It's over for LeBron James. You know, whether anybody wants to admit it to themselves or not, it's over. He's done.
I mean, you can say what you want to say, but I always look at the politics of everything. The politics of it is that the New York, these big market teams, the NBA wants these teams to be successful. You're talking about LeBron James. There's no way in the world LeBron James is going to miss the playoffs 2 years in a row. Something's going to happen in LA. Whereas though they're not missing the playoffs next year. I'll put my house on it.
Well,
I mean, I'm telling you, there's politics in this.
all right, well, do me a favor. Sign over your deed tomorrow. All right, just do that now.
They're not
sign
the
over
only
your
way they
deed.
miss the playoffs if he
Sign
break
over your
a
deed,
leg
man.
in training camp or something.
All right, well, we are out of time, ladies and gentlemen, so we're just going to go straight to the social media. So I want you guys to go to the No BS, No Holds Barred Sports Talk viewer group. Then I want you to go to the YouTube page. So I want you to look at past shows. Let you know what Mr. Regular and I think. Is it you guys think? Let me know. Then go to the blog on Blogger. No BS, No Holds Barred Sports Talk.blogspot.com. Follow me on social media. Insane_Shane29, Underground SB29, Shiz_29. Also follow the No BS page, No Holds Barred. Then Underground Sports DLC.blogspot.com. And then Mr. Unregulated for you for his Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram is Mr. Unregulated, the number 4, the letter U.
There you go.
And LeBron James, he's got the whole world in his hand. He's got the NBA in his hand.
Son, just give me the deed. Just give me the deed to your house. I told you this.
And I'm not even. I'm not even a LeBron James fan. You know.
Just give me the deed to your house. He's dying.
Hey, we got to talk Big Three because I hear my man Gilbert Arenas is in the Big Three.
He's back.
Hey,
I'm excited.
Hey,
Big Three.
Agent Zero.
See, as a see soon, folks.
Let's
go. We'll see that soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna start working out too because I'm gonna have to get. I'm gonna see if I can
think
get
we
on.
all need to get back on because CBS just signed him.